They didn't bring him to court for justice. They brought him to erase him. Not to prove he was wrong, but to silence everything he stood for. They tried to buy the judge, promised him safety, a career, a fortune, if he'd just sign one paper. That was all they needed. One signature, and the captain would be taken away in chains, live on camera, humiliated, broken. But this is Africa, and not every man here is for sale. The courtroom that day was packed, every seat filled. People pressed against the windows just to catch a glimpse. Soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder along the walls. Journalists hovered with their lenses, their hands trembling, not because they didn't know what was happening, but because they did. Everyone knew who this was really about: Captain Ibrahim Traoré. He wasn't on trial for a crime. He was summoned, questioned, challenged for disrupting the order. The old guard had failed to take him down quietly, so now they were doing it publicly. This was their last card, the courtroom. They thought they had the stage set. All they had to do was corner him, label him a rebel, and arrest him in front of the world. A perfect performance, carefully rehearsed. Then he walked in. No convoy, no entourage. Just him, on foot, in the same worn fatigues he wore in the field. Dust on his boots, head high, calm. No one clapped, no one shouted. They didn't need to. The silence said it all. He sat down. No guards, no cuffs, just presence. The hearing began. A man in a suit read the accusations, long, formal, loaded with legal polish. But behind every word, the message was clear. You challenged the system, and now you must be punished. Then two men stood, plain clothes, quiet. They didn't shout or rush. They just moved. Deliberate, rehearsed. Reaching for their belts. The air changed. A hush swept the room. Someone in the crowd gasped. A journalist's hand shook. But Traoré didn't move. Didn't even blink. That's when the judge stood. No one expected it. He raised one hand, not angrily, not theatrically, just firmly, and said, "This is a court of law, not a trap, not a spectacle. No arrest will happen here. Today." The room froze. The officers paused, confused, glanced at someone behind them, waiting. But no order came. Then the judge turned to them and said, "You don't command this room. The law does, and the law will not be used as a weapon today." And just like that, something shifted. The fear cracked. People looked at each other, unsure whether to clap or cry. Even the soldiers standing along the walls seemed to breathe differently. Outside, word spread fast, not through official statements, but through people, through whispers on the street, through messages shared over cheap radios and crowded cafes. That moment didn't just stop an arrest. It started a ripple, because something rare had happened. Someone in power chose truth over orders, integrity over comfort. And Captain Traoré? He walked out the same way he came in, unchained, undiminished, still standing. And now the world knew. They tried to take him down, but they only made him stronger. The news spread like wildfire. They were going to arrest him, right there, in the middle of the courtroom. People leaned in, waiting for it. Cameras zoomed closer. Tension hung in the air like smoke. Captain Ibrahim Traoré stood up slowly. He didn't shout. He didn't argue. He didn't point fingers. He just looked around the room, steady and calm, and asked, "Is this what we've come to? Is this how we treat those who serve their people, with handcuffs and stage trials?" He turned toward the officers standing by. They were just doing their job, nervous, waiting for a command that hadn't come yet. "I don't blame you," he said quietly. "You didn't build this game, but I won't play along." Then he looked to the judge. A long pause. The room was so still you could hear the camera shutters. "You reminded us today what this place is meant to be," he said. Not a trap, not a show, but a place where truth stands on its own. And with that, he stepped back, not out of fear, out of principle. The judge didn't bang his gavel. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. The silence was louder than anything he could have said. Traoré walked out of that courtroom without a single hand stopping him. Not one soldier moved. Not a single command was given. Because something in the room had shifted. Power had crept in quietly, hoping no one would notice. But justice stood its ground. That night, the clip went everywhere. Phones buzzed from Dakar to Nairobi. People watched, replayed, shared. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. A soldier, unarmed, standing tall. A judge, unbought, standing firm. No shouting, no chaos. Just quiet defiance, and a dignity that couldn't be silenced. They tried to arrest Captain Traoré that day, but instead, the world got a lesson in what real authority looks like.